Hello and welcome, Crosstown Gamer here, and today we're going to be continuing our playthrough of Colonial Twilight, the French-Algerian War, 1954 to 1962. Um, our dog Luna is here to cheer us on, so say hello, Luna. When last we looked at this map, this was the state of things. We only played one card so far, and so on that card it was Army in Waiting, and on that one they were able to the FLN were able to kind of get in here and cause a ruckus, and so we want to try and capture that territory back if possible. And they were also able to modify the France track and get us a little worse off there too. So as the government player, then let's go ahead and start playing our next card. The next card on the docket is going to be Peace Talks. So until propaganda, government may not assault, FLN may not attack. So this is a dual momentum card, meaning that it lasts until the next propaganda card, which could be a conceivably long time considering the fact that we've only played one card so far. It looks like the bot wants to prioritize this card, so it would probably be a waste if we wanted this to happen for us to take the event, because I don't know how they prioritize the event in the flowchart. We're still learning that, but it would allow us to go first next time, but I don't think it's worth it because we're not modifying the game state that much. In fact, we don't really want this to happen because it would be great if we could assault and attack things. I'm not worried about them attacking us just yet. Maybe I should be, but I don't know. So if we played an Operation Special Activity, that would free them up to be able to execute the event because it's adjacent in this initiative track. So the only way to block them would be to execute an operation only. That would block them from taking the event. They would have to do a limited op, but then they would be first next time. And so what do we want to do? So there are really three things we can do. We can train, garrison, or sweep. So if we train, we can place Algerian cubes from available. And if we run out of cubes from available, we can pull them from other places on the map. Perfectly legal to do. In fact, I believe the bot is able to do that now in this game alone. The other coin games, they're not supposed to do that. Regardless, there's two Algerian cubes up here. So we could place those two cubes in a location and then pull two more from elsewhere on the map, or we could just do two in one spot and two from elsewhere on the map in another spot, that kind of thing. So like for example, over here, we have 3 pieces, they have 4 pieces. So in order to get control back of this, we need 2 things to go in here. So there's 2 Algerian police that can be pulled right in there. It would flip control back over to us, and that would be very good. We could also target the France track, kind of undo what they've done to us last turn. And over here, it's going to be a little trickier, and here, because they have 4 pieces to our 1, so we need an extra 4 pieces, which is possible to do, but I think if we were to pick another spot, it would be down here, because we would only need 3 pieces. And the 3 pieces we could pull, it doesn't have to be police, so they can also be these darker troops cubes. So I think, we'd pull like that police from there. I don't think this police is really necessary down here. And then maybe there's a lot of troops up here, so maybe this Algerian troop. Pull them into here, we would get control of that as well. And on top of that, we would get to pacify, which in one of those spots, which would negate their opposition, turn it to neutral, which is very good. So that would be 3 spots, and then we could have the option to do some of these special activities. We could move our French pieces in from available, which is really cool, because then we would have more stuff on the map. And or we could Redistribute French troops. That's also very good because we can take French troops out of like here where they're heavily concentrated and put them into a spot where they're more necessary. Even just taking 2 or 3 from here and then 1 or 2 from here pulling in, we would have control of that region as well. However, if we did that, it would allow them to do this event. I think it's worth the risk at this point. Gaining control of another spot is going to be really helpful for us. It's going to limit their options, I believe. And it ripens the sector for pacification. And so hopefully we would be able to pacify it on a future turn and get some support, because that's how we win the game. The other options for us, we could garrison and or sweep. I guess just or, not and. Garrison, we can move police from various locations on the map into spots, so that would have a similar effect, but we wouldn't be able to pacify. It would allow us to activate guerrillas, though. So if we activated, some guerrillas here, we could then use this neutralize thing to just wipe them out, or at least 2 of them. So that's neat too. The neutralization aspect, though, is, again, we're risking the fact that we would be exposing these guerrillas, and then they would do the peace talks, and we would not be able to wipe them out except through neutralizing, which is a lot slower, I think. And neutralizing puts the space toward opposition, so we only want to do that in spaces that are already on opposition, which is fine. It's those spaces. And sweep is very similar, but with troops and not police, and only into adjacent spaces. This is less ideal for us because all of our troops are up here and they're not adjacent to a space that we want to actually do that in. So these troops would be able to go in here, which is great, but otherwise ineffective. So I think train is our best option. And I'm not the best at these games, so maybe it's a mistake, but we'll go for it. So we're going to pick 3 spots, and let me get my handy markers. So we're going to train here. We're going to train here. And we're going to train on France track. So just to be sure we're able to do this, the location is city, sector with base, France or border track. This is a sector with a base. This is not, and that's a France border track. However, Recall de Gaulle is in play. And here, the government is also able to train in any 1+ population space with government control, troops, and police. Oh, no, we can't do it there. Troops and police. Oh, man. This game is hard. Troops and police. We could train like here, but that's not going to be helpful for us. Brutal. I really wanted to get an extra... That's fine. I guess we won't do it there. So we will pull in the last 2 Algerian police from available here. And that's going to cost us resources per location selected. I think that's a typo. I think it should say 2 resources per location selected, given that all the other ones cost 2 resources per space selected, rather than just resources. So we added the 2 there. We are going to do the border track, which we've done now. And then those are our 2 locations that we did it in. So it'll cost us 4 resources. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can also pacify in this location. So this flipped now. We have more. So flips to government control. And it says... in one selected space with government control, remove terror and pacify up to 1 level. So we can do it 1 level. and costs 2 resources per level shifted. And so we can remove this for another 2 resources, 1, 2, and this changes the opposition down 2 as well because it's 2 population zone space sector, whatever. All right. That was the actual operation, and now we did say we were going to do a special activity. City, sector with base, or government control and available. Oh, no. I think we wanted to do troop lift. Because, okay. French pieces among selected space and available. Okay. City, sector with base, or government control. There aren't any sectors with bases that don't have government control already. Those were going to be the places I was going to target so we could get control. So I think we're actually going to not worry about that. We are going to do the troop lift then, and we're going to lift from up here, and we can move it between 3 locations, move them between 3 locations. So we're actually going to pick 1, 2, and then 3 for our locations. And is that where we want to do it, or do we want to do it over here? It's move any French troops among the selected spaces. I think we're actually going to do it in a spot that's a little trickier for us to worry about, which is going to be these up here. Let's worry about our northern border. So let's go with here, just picking randomly, semi-randomly. So we need 4 extra pieces to gain control of this region. And it's any 3 spaces, so this is a perfectly valid location. And we're going to take 3 of these troops and 1 of these. No, we're going to take 2 and 2. Let's take 2 and 2. We're going to plop them in here. And that will get us control. Still opposition, but that kind of frees us up to do some neutralizing or some fanciness there as well. And hopefully limits their options. Okay, so we did the operation. We paid for it. We did the troop lift special activity. So we did go here. Now let's see what the bot is going to do. All right. So, limited operation, no. And resources at 0, no. So, they are skipping to the next criteria here. So, each FLN Algerian base at 1+ population has 2+ underground guerrillas and 1+ at 0 pop. So, let's look at all their bases in Algeria. They have ones here, 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 and here. There's 4 of them. They all have at least 3 guerrillas. So this is a yes, they do. Has 2+ underground guerrilla. Yes. So they want to do terror. Great. This is going to suck for us. Okay. Do not activate last guerrilla at FLN base. Let's look at the terror op here. Oh, if the current event is playable by FLN and would reduce government victory margin, follow the if none arrow now. So they would try and do the event in that case. Otherwise, which it's not. It's not going to affect the victory margin at all. It's a momentum card. So yeah, so the marked for event thing, it's true they want to play this event, but they really want to do terror. The event's playable. It's not going to reduce the victory margin. Oh, by as much or more than terror below. So if it's a 0, so if none, they're going to do it event anyway. But let's take a look. Terror is going to be spaces with underground guerrillas, not population 0, and they're going to activate 1 at a terror marker and set the space to neutral. So they want to remove support first. I don't think they're in any locations that have support. No. So opposition, neutral, 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 opposition, opposition. Yeah. Okay. So they're not in support. If it's the last campaign, no, it's not. Terror, we're neutral, and pacifiable, and no terror marker. So they're actually going to, if none, go down here. It's marked for event, it's effective, and they are eligible to play the event, yes. So they are going to do it. Play the event per instructions provided. So again, this is a momentum card. So I'm going to put it over here. Yeah. No. Gosh. I'm just trying to keep organized. Like, I want to see all the cards that are in play so I don't end up messing something up. Because we've got the cards that are in play over here, that the momentum and stuff. I should put them up here by the capabilities. We also have these pivotal events that we can play. So, yeah, I also have to look at the triggering conditions for when they want to play their pivotal event. I can't remember exactly how that works. But I don't think they want to play it right now. So, yeah, they did the event. Easy peasy. We can't assault. They can't attack until next campaign. So they did the event. That means they're going to be first eligible on the next card. Let's play the next card. It's going to be oil and gas discoveries. Executor of the event may add up to 2 commitment. So they probably don't want to do this. French cubes equal to twice the commitment added are removed from the... Oh, they might. So I see. It's like they're going to add more commitment, but the French cubes are going to go to the oil fields, and so they're going away. That's interesting. All right, so the bot's up first. Let me remove these markers. Okay. The bot's up first. Let's see what it wants to do. And again, I think it wants to do the terror because nothing's really changed here. They still have more than enough guerrillas at their bases, so yes. They want a terror. Okay, now we need to check if it's going to reduce the victory margin, and it's not. It's effective, and they can play the event, but it's going to actually help the victory margin for the government player, because removing French troops inherently doesn't do anything directly, but commitment does, and it's going to be adding commitment. So that's not true. So they want to remove support. Again, they're not at support. It's not the last campaign, so it's going to be an if none anyway. It's not marked for FLN, so this is going to be a no. The FLN's eligible to play the event, and event is any capability or 1d6 equals 1 minus 4? Oh, 1 through 4, of course. I'm so stupid. Okay. Yeah, so they want to do this. They're eligible to play the event. The event is not a capability, but they're going to roll a die, and if it's on 1 through 4, they're going to try to play the event. If they do... Reduce. It's... this is going to be an if none anyway, so we don't even need to roll. Let's roll just for posterity here. So they're going to roll the die. They got a 4, so they would try to play the event. It doesn't do any of these things, so they're going to go to if none anyway, so we're going to do that. Attack with or without ambush would remove 2 French troops. This is going to be a no because of the event that they just played. They're not allowed to attack. Can't attack, so no. Ooh, whoa. Okay, we are really going for it now. Oh, wow, we're going to cover the entire flowchart in this one turn. Let's see. Rally would place a base or FLN bases on the map ×2 greater than number. Oh my gosh, yeah, there's a marker for this, and I haven't set it up correctly, so I need to do this calculation one more time. Forgive me, and then in future videos we won't have to do this manually anymore. So let's check if Rally would place a base first, because that's the easier of the two things to check. So any sector, non-support city, Morocco, Tunisia, or France track. Replace 2 guerrillas with a base. And then, where's their rally? Here it is. So at 3+ guerrillas and no cubes. Replace, okay, 4+ with cubes, basically. So they need 4+ if there are cubes there to place a base. And it looks like no such location. These are all at 3+, but they have cubes, so they don't want to do that. So Rally's not going to place a base. And just double checking. Yeah, okay. So bases on the map ×2 greater than number of guerrillas at FLN bases plus 1d6 divided by 2 rounded down. So there's 8 bases on the map. We can see that from down here. 8 bases on the map. ×2 is 16. Is 16 greater than the number of guerrillas at FLN bases plus blah blah blah? Guerrillas at FLN bases. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So there's 19. Already we are... we're greater on the right-hand side of this equation without even adding the D3, basically. So this is going to be no or no. They will march. All right. So for 2/3 of their resources, unless less than 9, they are at 10 resources right now. Never march last underground nor last 2 total guerrillas from an FLN base. Nor last guerrilla of any support space. Yeah, okay. Cause no government control. At 1+ pop. Okay, they're going to get one. They're going to try to get 1 guerrilla to each Algerian base with no such guerrilla. They're covered there. That's fine. It's interesting that that must be like a safety net, because that's already checked over here. Like, you know, it seems like this diamond would get connected to the march if it weren't able to. I digress. Okay. Get 1 guerrilla to each support space with no such guerrillas. 2 to up to 1 city if Taleb. What does that mean? Oh, Taleb must be I don't think that's a location, so that must be a capability. Yeah, I don't see it as a location. So, all right, they want to each support space. They could do that, I guess. This is actually kind of scaring me now. This Sétif is next to Constantine, so they could march into there, and we would lose control, and it would be in the support space. The only other support spaces are the other cities, and they don't have any adjacent pieces into those. So, if last campaign only, march or staying underground, yeah. So they want to march, at least one of their locations is going to be from Sétif into Constantine, it looks like, based on the fact that they want to get 1 guerrilla to each support space. And that's a support space. So march. Move guerrillas into adjacent spaces. If moved into has support, or guerrillas moved across an international border, So the first part of that's true. It's marching into support. And moving pieces plus government cubes exceeds 3. Oh man, they are slipping in under the radar. Because then you'd have to activate the guerrilla, add border zone status. Oh, that's for the crossing an international border. Okay. If in same Walaya may march again. Oh, I didn't know that. They can march multiple spaces if they stay in the same Walaya. Oh, does that change things? It might, because, well, they just need to get one guerrilla in here, so that's what they'll do. Now, since this does not exceed 3, then they don't have to activate. This goes away, and that costs 1 resource so far. To where staying underground and the lowest total cost route. That's where that's in there. So here they're able to do such a thing as well. Boop, boop. Cost them 2. But anyway, so this was, they were able to stay underground, and that was the lowest cost total route. So that was the only such way to do that. There are 2 more spaces where that would be possible. However, sorry, my camera work is needing some work right now. Because I'm looking at the map. Anyway, so we did this one. Now we've done this one. That was the highest priority version of that. They're moving on to the next location. Actually, I don't know. I always get confused by this. It's like, do you sit there and just do this over and over until you can't anymore? I don't think so. I think we've done it. Now we move on. 3, remove government control in one sector with no opposition and 1+ pop. So I want in the mountains first, highest population, to where lowest total cost route. Okay. These are all mountains. So I think what they want to do is something like this. They can move, if they moved 2 in over here, they would regain control. Oh, they only need to remove government control. That only costs 1 unit. So it would cost them 1 unit. They would still keep control over here. They're not removing the last guerrilla from a base, etc. They no longer have control of this, by the way. And that's a 2 population zone. It will cost them 1. Same with over here. They can move 1 in like this, keep control, just barely, and cause the government to... Oh no, they need 2. They need 2 there. So they would have to move in 2, and that would cause them to lose control, which I don't think they want to do. Cause no government control. I guess it doesn't matter. They can do that. They would move 2 in like this. They would lose government control over here. They would not create government control here. So that's another spot that's viable. And those are the 2 population zones where they're capable of doing something like that. They would have to move in 5 pieces to get there, which I don't think is reasonably... Yeah, I don't think they can do that at all. So... also over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1, 2, 3, 4. So they could move in... I believe they can cross an international border, but then they would end up flipping pieces over because there's a bunch of stuff there. Okay, so there's a few candidate locations. Let's look at the tiebreaker. With no... Oh, it needs no opposition. 1 sector, no opposition, and 1+ pop. Remove government control. Where were we? So I think here, because like I said, they could do it up here, but there's opposition up there, so they don't want to do that. The next So there's also, here and here. So now we've ruled out one of those. They want to do it in the mountains. This is a plains space. Down here, it's a plains. So this is the mountain spot. There's only one left, so we don't need to look at the last tiebreaker. And yeah, so they're going to take these two and move them on in. And that removes control of Medea. Now, do they have to activate? I know that's what you're thinking. So if it has support, or the guerrillas moved across an international border. It does not have support. They do not move across an international border. So they do not need to activate guerrillas. Okay. So then they lost control there, and we lost control there. Okay. And again, they don't care about exposing guerrillas in this one. That's not listed among the priorities. Last spot. So now they've marched twice. Let me pay for both of those just so I don't forget. 1, 2. Last spot. Get exactly 3 guerrillas to 1 non-resettled 0 pop space where there's room for a base. Can they do that? 1 non-resettled 0 population space with room for a base. Non-resettled. So this doesn't count. It's been resettled. They would need to go like down here. They can cross the international border, but then they can't march again. So they could go here, I guess. But they would have to activate all their guerrillas to do that. Do they care? I don't know. I don't think any other spot is really... Yeah, this is a Walea here. So they can't just like march down into that zone. They only have 2 in this Walea. Yeah, so over here they could do it. So it says exactly 3 guerrillas to 1 non-resettled 0 pup space with room for a base. Where there's the least amount of cubes, well, that's the only spot in the mountains, blah, 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 where 1 plus marchers stay underground. So they want to do it where they'd stay underground. Unfortunately, they can't. That's the only way to do it. So they'll march here. This does remove control. And they crossed an international border, and the number of pieces moved plus the cubes exceeds 3. So, the handy thing. Oops. Activate moving guerrillas if crossing international border. Add border zone status to number of cubes. Oh, wow. Border zone status is currently at 3. So it's a lot. If same Walea, march again. Yeah. So they definitely exceed 3 even without the border status thing. So these all activate. Which they probably don't really care about because I can't attack them. So, okay. That was their march. Oh, they need to pay for that last one. And none of the support, opposition, bases, that kind of thing was affected by that march. And so we don't need to worry about the victory condition thing. And then for their march... And it says with, and it's with subvert. Okay, let's look at subvert. That's ambush. Okay. Remove or replace Algerian cubes. up to 2 spaces with underground gorillas and Algerian cubes. They do have a few spots. They have this spot up here, this spot here, and this spot here. That has, this is no underground ones. Those are the spots where they have Algerian cubes and underground gorilla. So it says spaces up to 2 spaces with Algerian cubes and underground gorillas. So remove the last space. Oh, let's look at, first of all, what does it do? Remove total of 2 cubes from spaces, or replace 1 police with an underground gorilla. Remove cubes 2 available. Okay. So they probably want to do it up here because there's actually 2 cubes to remove. Let's see. To remove the space's last cube from up to 2 spaces. Oh, maybe they want to do it. Yeah. In 1 space, replace 1 randomly where able. So remove a space's last cube from up to 2 spaces. This would not be their last cube, but here and here would be. And normally these things say like you want to keep the last gorilla at any support space or at a base, that kind of thing. Do not activate last underground gorilla at FLN base. Because I was gonna say this would be doing that, but you don't actually have to activate anything. It just says in a spot with underground gorilla and Algerian cubes, you can remove 2 Algerian cubes. Ooh, that is spicy. Okay, so they will remove. It's up to 2 spaces, and so it can be 1 from each. They're gonna remove both of those Algerian cubes. They go to available. Ooh, and that is enough to tip the scales and get FLN control in both of those spaces. Man, this bot is crazy already. I feel like I'm just barely treading water, and they're every time I gain control of a place, they're getting it right back and in a better position, and this is unprotected now. Okay, so that was the operation and special activity. Now we can execute the event if we want, or we can do a limited operation or pass. So we can get our commitment up there, and then French cubes equal to twice the commitment added are removed from the map to out of, or available to out of play. Ooh. Okay. So we could do a limited operation, or we could try and, I mean, this would be upping our commitment, which is good. Very good. At the cost of 4 French cubes. 4 of them. Ugh. Because then they go to out of play. Well, the limited op, we could do an operation in 1 space, and I guess we could rally again and just try and pacify somewhere. That sounds kind of lame. It just seems anemic. We could... This isn't us. This is us. We could garrison in place or sweep in place. So activate 1 gorilla for every cube there, or 2 in the mountains. Man, I know you guys are probably yelling at the screen like, take the event or don't take the event. I don't know which one. We need to get to 35 up here, and so going from 22 to 24 doesn't seem like a huge thing. I don't know how much of an impact a bunch of these things being out of play. Like, I would obviously take the ones from here out of play. alternatively, the other thing we could do is sweep in place here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would be enough to activate 2 gorillas. One for every 2 cubes in a mountain. Or sweep in place here and activate all 3 gorillas. Or rally here and place the Algerian cubes back on the board. That might be something. And then we could pacify. Let's do it. Let's do this. Limited operation. We're going to rally yet again. And we can rally in a spot. I think we can do it in a spot with a base, too. Okay, let's double check. Or not rally, sorry, train. Sector with base. Yes. Place up to 4 Algerian cubes. Then we can pacify. Suck it. Okay. This spot, we're going to take our 2 Algerian cubes. We're going to put it in here. We regain control of this spot. And now it has government control. We're able to pacify. So it costs us 4 resources total. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we end up getting support there. And for our troubles, that gives us 2 victory points. So we got our 2 victory points anyway. Support goes up by 2. Because we got 2, 2, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. And that was a limited operation. We only did it in one location, right here. And we didn't do any special activities. So that was perfectly legal to do, I hope. Now we are going to be first up. And on the next card, which I will save for the next video, but I'll at least show you what it is. So we got through 2 cards that time. And the next card up on the chopping block here is Blueite. Okay. That's going to be next. We're going to be up, so we're going to get a chance to do all this stuff. And, oh yeah. Yeah, that might be something. That might be worth something there. We could do that in, like up here or something. I don't know. Anyway, we'll save that for the next time. Thank you for watching. If you noticed any rules mistakes or things that you would have done differently even, I would love to hear about it. Just drop a comment, and I promise I do read them all. So yes, leave me a comment. Otherwise, we'll see you next time when we continue our playthrough of Colonial Twilight. It's been real. Bye.